Hi everyone, and welcome back to another STEM video. For today's activity, we are going to be learning how to make our own hovercraft. To make your own hovercraft, you're going to need several materials. You are going to need a CD, a balloon, and glue. You can use Elmer's glue or a hot glue gun. If you're going to use a hot glue gun, make sure you have an adult present to help you with the activity. And you are also going to need a cap. You can use a cap to a water bottle. I'm using a marker cap. It's just important that the cap that you use has a hole, or that you can make a hole in it, and that the cap is big enough to fit just around the small circle and is big enough to put the water balloon opening on top of the cap, so you don't want too wide a cap. If you are going to be using a cap that you have to make a hole into, please make sure you have an adult present to help you with the scissors or to help make the hole in the cap so that you don't hurt yourself. Now, if we're not familiar with what a hovercraft is, allow me to explain. It is a vehicle that glides over smooth surfaces by hovering on top of an air cushion. So what happens is these vehicles produce mass amounts of air that flow underneath the machine, and it floats on top of the air that it creates underneath the vehicle. So it floats on top of so let's say this is the road or water, the surface that you're traveling upon. The vehicle creates air underneath it and floats on top of the air, never touching the actual surface. So it creates very little friction as possible, so it can glide smoothly over the air cushion. Now, friction is another concept that we need to understand. And for those of us who might not be familiar with friction, it basically means how two things rub together. Friction depends on the surfaces of the two objects that are meeting together. For example, let's say you are rollerblading. If you are rollerblading on a flat road, the pavement road, then the wheels on the flat road, and the wheels are also round, have very little friction or very little resistance that they're facing. But let's say you're also trying to rollerblade on a gravel road and it's all uneven and all rocky, then there is more friction because the surface is uneven and all divoted, and the wheels have a hard time moving on top of the surface. And that is how the hovercraft works. It is floating or hovering on the air created by the hovercraft on the surface. So it's just air meeting air, two smooth surfaces that allow the hovercraft to move around. So now that we have a little bit of an idea of what a hovercraft is and how friction works, let's get into engineering and designing our own hovercraft. So I have my CD here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cap and my glue. I don't have Elmer's glue, so I'm using Gorilla Glue, but you can use Elmer's glue again, or a hot glue gun. If you're using a hot glue gun, please make sure to have a parent present with you. So what you are going to do is you're going to take the glue and you are going to put it around the CD, just around the little hole here, not too much. And then you are going to put on top the cap just around the hole and hold it there till it dries. And we'll wait for it as it dries there. Alright, and you can have a parent with you to know if it's dry or not. Alright, and once you think it's all dry and ready to go, you're going to take your balloon and you are going to blow. Hold it, and what you're going to do is you're going to take the mouth of the balloon and you're going to try and place the mouth on top of the cap gently. Some air might come out. You can also have an adult present with you to try and help you put it on, because it is a little bit tricky, but once you get the hang of it, it turns out just fine. There we go. And then once you get it on, you can watch as it glides on top of this flat table surface, okay? So as you can see, sometimes your hovercraft might need a little bit of encouragement as you push it with your finger, and it is free to move around wherever you want, but it's almost like air hockey when you push the CD and it glides around on the surface. And another important thing to note is the more air that you put into your balloon, the longer the hovercraft is going to be able to move around the surface and more smoothly on the surface. So test out different air pressures. Well, there you guys go. A DIY hovercraft that you can play with over the winter break. We learned a little bit about what an air hovercraft is and a little bit about friction. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's STEM activity, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.